you're anything like us, you've probably struggled to stay consistent in the gym. We're going to be covering mistakes that we've made and advice that we wish we would have known sooner. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment.
The first and probably most important tip is overworking yourself. You aren't a fitness influencer, so stop working out like one. You don't need to destroy your muscles to grow. When you first go back into the gym, you could take it nice and easy to get your muscles adjusted to it and then take it every day from there on. When you first start in the gym, you should be mostly focusing on proper form. People burn out very quickly because they think, oh, let me try to do a Tom Platz leg day or some other fitness influencer's leg day, even though they don't even know how to do a proper squat yet. It's all about just learning and teaching yourself how to do proper form and getting yourself adjusted to it rather than just going straight into it and shocking your muscles.
Now, similarly, we see that with supplements. A lot of people get overwhelmed and they think that they need to take zinc, even sometimes steroids, creatine. You get into all these supplements when at the end of the day, the most important supplement is protein. Now, this is something that's natural in many of the foods that we eat, and we got to make sure that we're maintaining a lot of protein in order to build that muscle that we need. Now, the only supplement that I'd really, truly recommend is creatine. And that's something that you can maybe look at later on in your fitness journey just because of all the research done behind it and how much muscle growth you actually see naturally. With that being said, too much of anything can actually be bad for you, and this applies to protein. For reference, however many grams of protein you want to eat is the amount of body weight you are, or the amount of pounds. So if I'm 200 pounds, 200 grams of protein.
Another important part is this rest and recovery. When you're sleeping, that's when your muscles are actually growing and recovering. And when you're eating, that's when your muscles are actually able to grow and feed as well. So make sure you're at least getting 8 hours. Sometimes it's hard, so maybe 7 hours, and eating well. The most important days in your workout routine are your rest days. Another one is consistency. Obviously, when you're first starting out, you're not going to be able to work out 5 to 6 days a week, which is fine. 3 days a week is fine for beginners. And then that is when you could start going up to 5 to 6 days a week.
With that being said, progressive overload is a very important key tip to help you grow. This is something that people often get confused because they get comfortable where they are. So if you start off with 135 pounds on bench 1 week for 6 reps, the next week you want to up it to 140 or 145. Now you want to continue upping the weight as you go on until eventually you'll start to plateau, which means that you won't be able to do that weight, meaning that some weeks you'll have to stay on 200 pounds for 2-3 weeks and then move up to 205. Now, the mistake that people make is that they get too comfortable and they look on their workout sheet, 135 pounds on squat for 8 reps, and they'll keep doing that for months at a time and they're seeing no progress because they're not pushing themselves hard enough. In order to make sure that you're progressive overloading, track your lifts. This could be written down in your notes or just in your head if you have a great memory. Just make sure you're tracking and being consistent from week to week. So to summarize, make sure that you're being consistent and remember that slow and steady wins the race, not to do too much at once. And just remember to track what you're doing. You'd be very surprised at how quickly you'll see progress, and even in the mirror and even in your lifts. Your lifts, you'll see it within 3 to 4 days, and the mirror you could see in as little as 2 weeks.
Now make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you for watching the video.
Thank you guys. Catch y'all.